Stars shined quietly over the planet Valerian, a world full of green forests and glowing rivers. The Valeri people lived peacefully for thousands of years. They believed in harmony, learning, and growth. They had no armies, no weapons, art, science, and songs. But peace, they would learn, could not protect them from what was coming. From the edge of the galaxy, the Krylok Dominion moved like a shadow. A powerful empire, known for crushing weaker worlds, had now set its eyes on Valerian. At first, the Valeri thought the Krylok ships were passing by. But when the sky filled with dark clouds, when the rivers ran with dust, they understood. The Valeri were scientists, not warriors. Their cities fell quickly. Their towers of light were turned into ruins. The Krylok didn't speak, didn't offer deals. They simply took. They took energy, land, and lives. Every call for help the Valeri sent into space was ignored. The big empires turned away. The peace unions said it was too dangerous. One by one, their hopes faded, until one signal reached a strange blue planet. Far away Earth. No one had heard from Earth in a long time. Most believed Earth was silent because it was dangerous. It was called a death world for a reason. Wild storms, extreme heat and cold, poisonous animals, humans had survived it all. They didn't just live there, they thrived. The Valeri were weak, but they were also desperate. They sent one final message. It was short. It said, to whoever, here's this, please help. We are dying. 4 days. Silence answered then. Without warning, a message came back. It was not soft. Not kind, just a voice. We received your message. Reinforcements are coming. No name, no location, no sign of who sent it. The Valeri waited. They asked their scientists who replied. It came from Earth. Confusion followed. Why would Earth respond? The Valeri remembered the stories long ago. Humans were asked to join the Galactic Union. They refused. They warned. We are not ready for peace. Not yet. Years passed, and Earth became a mystery. The galaxy avoided them. Their planet became a ghost in charts. No one visited. No one dared to look. But now, Earth had spoken. In the Krylok command ship, the generals laughed. Earth, a legend, a backwater world. They send words but no army. Their mistake would be thinking humans needed an army. Meanwhile, deep under Earth's surface, something awakened. Not machines. People, hidden facilities, lit up. Men and women in dark armor stepped out of silent rooms. No medals, no fanfare. These were not soldiers. They were the operators, Earth's deadliest response unit. They didn't fight for fame. They fought because Earth had decided it was time. Each one trained for environments harsher than any in the galaxy. They were made for Deathworld survival. And now, they would bring that survival to others. The team was small, just a handful of operatives. But what they carried wasn't size. It was precision, strategy, speed, fear. The commander looked over the map of Valerian's cities. High. Civilian population. Enemy dominance. 78%. Entry strategy. Stealth and slice. Another voice responded. Minimal loss. Maximum example. No war cries, no anger. Only purpose. In orbit, Earth's ships moved. Silent, black as night. Small but sharp. They carried no flags, no broadcasts. Only one signal repeated across the stars. To the Krylok Dominion. Leave Valerian now. This is your only warning. The Krylok generals laughed again. They had fleets, they had weapons. What could a few human ships do? What they didn't understand was this. When humans answer a call for help, they don't come with hope, they come with resolve. Valerian's skies were quiet one last time. The Valeri stood under broken towers, looking up, hoping, wondering if anyone truly heard them. And then the stars blinked. 1 ship, then 3, then 7. No noise, just presence. The Valeri didn't know what was about to happen, but the Krylok, they would learn soon. The Deathworlders had arrived. Asterisk. The Valeri watched the sky as strange ships floated above their broken world. These were not like the Krylok ships, big, loud, full of pride. No. These were quiet, sharp, and moved like shadows. Small in number, but somehow more dangerous. The Valeri didn't know whether to be relieved or afraid. Was this help, or another kind of invasion? Inside the largest human vessel, silence ruled. The crew didn't cheer. They didn't speak loudly. Each person moved with purpose, eyes sharp, expressions calm. These weren't ordinary people. They were trained for missions where no mistakes were allowed. Their leader, Commander Reese, stood in the center of the command bay, reviewing the data from Valerian. His voice was steady. Civilian zones need protection first. Krylok patrols are fast but predictable. First move. Disable their eyes. Understood, a woman replied. Her name was Ellen, a specialist in infiltration. She had seen more than 20 worlds in crisis. But this one felt different. Not because of the enemy, but because of how innocent the Valeri were. Back on Valerian, the alien survivors gathered in silence. The skies had gone still. Krylok patrols were fewer today, almost as if something was bothering them. For the first time in weeks, there was a moment of calm. Then, at night, something changed. Across Krylok bases on the planet, lights went out. Power grids failed. Communications were blocked. No weapons fired, just quiet shutdowns. Confusion spread. Commanders shouted orders into dead radios, and the humans hadn't even landed yet. The Valari saw it first. Strange shadows moved through. The forests not large, not loud, just fast, precise. In the dark, Krelok soldiers disappeared. No battles, no noise, just gone. In orbit, a Krelok admiral slammed his hand on the control panel. Find them. Who are they? What are they doing? But the systems gave no answers. No tracks, no signals. The enemy was invisible. Inside Earth's main ship, a report came in. The Krelok outpost near River Point had been fully disabled. No casualties reported. All civilians safe. Commander Reese read the update and gave a quiet nod. Begin Phase 2, he said. Elsewhere, a new figure stepped into action. Day, a human with unmatched tracking skills, moved through Valerian's jungle like the wind. His mission was not to fight, it was to protect. Behind him, Valari survivors followed, confused but safe. Day never looked back. He only said one thing: keep moving, stay low. Ellen, meanwhile, entered the central data tower controlled by Krelok forces. She didn't destroy it, she copied it. Every plan, every order, every secret Krelok ever wrote about their invasion now in human hands. On the Galactic Network, whispers began. Other alien races noticed strange activity in Valerian's region. A few brave ships moved close, but when they scanned the planet, they found no Krelok signals, only silence, and something unknown. Some called it Earth's shadow. The Galactic Council, who had once ignored Valerian's call, now held emergency meetings. Earth is active again, someone said. Should we make contact? No, another replied. Let them finish. Back in Krelok space, orders were given. A full fleet was to return to Valerian. They would crush whoever dared to challenge them, but Earth already knew. Commander Reese looked at the stars beyond Valerian. Reinforcements are coming. Let them. We'll be ready. Beside him, Ellen finished uploading the stolen Krelok data. They think we're just here to help the Valari, she said. Reese replied. We are, but this is more than rescue. This is a message. The Valari, watching from the shadows, had never seen anything like it. These humans didn't sing songs. They didn't speak much. But with every step they took, the Krelok backed away. What kind of beings answered a cry for help like this? Quiet, calm, and unstoppable. The Valari still didn't understand Earth. But one thing was clear. When the Deathworlders said they were coming, they meant every word. Night fell again on Valerian, but it no longer brought only fear. There was something different in the air, something unspoken, but deeply felt. The Krelok were still there, still strong, but less confident. Their patrols were fewer, their ships hovered higher, uncertain. They had ruled this planet with power and fire. But now, something invisible had entered the game, something they couldn't understand. From the shadows, the Valari watched and whispered. Stories spread among the ruins about dark-armored beings who walked without sound, who moved like wind, and who vanished before you could blink. Some thought they were ghosts. Others believed they were legends, but they were human, and they were just getting started. High above Valerian, the Earth ship Omen remained silent in orbit. It looked small compared to the massive Krelok fleet nearby, but its size didn't matter. Inside, plans were being made fast, precise, and without emotion. Commander Reese stood in the central chamber, watching a hologram of the planet. Krelok bases, patrols, and movement paths lit up in red. His team had mapped it all from the shadows. They knew where the enemies slept, where they met, where they felt safest. Ellen entered with a datapad. They've changed their routines. They're watching for us now. Reese nodded. Good. That means they believe we're real. Beside him, Day studied the forest zones. They've pulled out of the central ridge completely. That area is clear for evac routes. Send the Valari there, Reese replied. We'll keep moving forward. Down on the surface, Krelok commanders grew frustrated. Their sensors showed nothing. Their trackers found no trace. Every hour, another post went silent. Equipment vanished. Supplies gone. But no attackers were ever seen. The Valari, still hiding in caves and burned-out shelters, began to see small lights in the dark. Human markers, safe zones. Some began following them. Others were too afraid. And then, the humans did something the Krelok didn't expect. They spoke. A single signal was sent on an open channel. Not to the Valari, not to the Council, but straight to the Krelok flagship. This is Earth Response Command. You have violated sovereign space. You were warned. You chose not to listen. No threats. No demands, just facts. The Krelok admiral laughed. Earth speaks as if it owns Valerian, but even as he laughed, something in him shifted. Earth's ships were few, their voices cold, their silence louder than any speech. It reminded him of something he had read long ago, about predators who didn't roar before they hunted. They simply acted. He ordered a test strike, a direct attack on the largest human ship in orbit. 3 Krelok cruisers moved in. Omen didn't move. It didn't power up weapons. It didn't broadcast a defense. But as the Krelok ships locked on target, they blinked off the screen. Not asteroid. Gone. Every camera, every radar, every sensor silent. The Krelok admiral stared at empty space. His voice for the first time was quiet.
What did they do?
He didn't know. No one did. That night, the Valari saw lights in the sky, gentle ones. Earth pods dropping supplies into safe areas. Food, medical kits, warm blankets. These warriors, cold as ice in battle, had not forgotten kindness. A small Valari child approached. One of the pods, a human voice played from it, slow and soft. You are not alone. We are here. Back aboard the Omen, the team was preparing the next step. The Krelok fleet will respond heavily now, Ellen said. Let them, Reese replied. They still think this is about ships. Day added quietly. It's never about ships. It's about fear, and we've planted it. The Krelok were not used to fear. They crushed it in others. But now, it was blooming inside them. One of their bases deep in the mountains sent a distress signal. It lasted only 6 seconds. Then silence. When a scout team arrived, they found the base abandoned. No battle. No damage. Just empty dot, and on a nearby wall, written in the Krylok's own language, were just 2 words. We see. The Krylok didn't sleep that night, and for the Valari, for the first time since the invasion, they dreamed, not of safety, but of something stronger. Hope. A cold mist rolled over Valerian's eastern plains. In the soft glow of dawn, silence ruled the landscape. No engines, no shouts, no Krelok patrols. The air felt strange, not peaceful, but waiting, as if something unseen stood just beyond the horizon, watching. The Valari villagers who had once hidden in the forest now stepped into the open fields, unsure. They whispered among themselves, where are the invaders? Why is the sky so quiet? They didn't know whether to celebrate or stay hidden. Some believed the Krelok had pulled back. Others believed they were preparing something worse. But the truth was something else entirely. In the shadows beneath, the old Valari library, ruins, a small team of humans crouched silently, their dark suits blending with the broken stone. Each one had a different skill. Some could disable entire systems without a sound. Others could sense electromagnetic movement across a city block, but they didn't speak. They waited for the signal, and it came. One soft blink of green light. On their HUDs.go. They moved like water. Through tunnels, over rooftops, between gaps in ancient walls. No alarm was triggered. No, I saw them. Not even the Krylok soldiers in their heavy armor, standing just meters away. Ellen led the forward, unit eyes scanning every corner. Her goal was simple. Get to the heart of the communication tower and stop the Krelok from calling reinforcements. Not destroy it, interrupt it, silently. Inside the tower, Krelok engineers continued their usual routine. They had no idea the humans were already inside. Systems began glitching one by one. Lights flickered. Consoles blinked strangely. Doors refused to open. Confused voices echoed through the corridors. Is it a power failure? Diagnostics are clear. Then what's causing this? And just as quickly as the malfunctions began, the humans were gone, slipped out, no trace. Back at the extraction point, Ellen removed her helmet. Tower's blind. They'll spend hours trying to fix what isn't broken. Commander Reese, watching the data stream from orbit, nodded. Begin Operation Echo. On the other side of Valerian, Day moved with his small support team along a mountain ridge. His mission was to retrieve a group of trapped Valari elders. Their cave had collapsed during a Krelok air patrol the week before. Getting in required precise timing and soft steps. But the Krelok had begun to notice. Not fully, but enough. Something was happening. Too many malfunctions. Too many missed patrols. Too much silence. So they sent in their enforcer squads. Heavily armored, elite soldiers meant to take back control. Day saw them first. 4 transports moving toward the mountain region. Will be seen in 15 minutes. One of his team whispered. No, Day replied calmly. We won't. He rerouted through a narrow cave system, one known only to Valari. Along the way, they found the elders weak, frightened, but alive. When they emerged again, the Krelok patrols had already passed, searching in the wrong direction. And waiting near the exit was a human transport craft, hovering without a sound. As the Valari climbed aboard, one elder turned to Day and whispered, "What are you?" He replied simply, "Earth's promise." Meanwhile, in orbit, Krelok Command was growing desperate. They launched drones, thousands looking for movement, life signs, anything, but Earth had planned for this. Their ships weren't jamming the signals, they were rewriting them. Every drone sent false readings. Every sensor returned false heat signatures. To the Krelok, the planet looked like static. Admiral Vorth of the Krelok Dominion stood in the center of his command bridge. "We are losing control. We don't even know where they are." Another officer replied, "We don't even know who they are." And that was the heart of the problem. These weren't soldiers in uniforms. They weren't diplomats or invaders. They were something else entirely. Precise, quiet, calculated, and above all, invisible. Later that evening, the Valari began receiving messages not from Earth, but from their own people, carried through safe channels the humans had built. For the first time, the villages were reconnecting. South sector is clear. Children from the river camps have been moved to shelter. Food drops arriving tonight. It wasn't just survival anymore. It was coordination. It was resistance that night. As the Krelok prepared a last attempt to locate the humans, the Valari did something they hadn't done since the invasion began. They lit their lanterns. Hundreds of soft blue lights rose into the sky, floating from mountaintops and valleys, drifting slowly across the stars. It was an ancient signal among the Valari, a message of remembrance, hope, and unity. The Krelok saw it and laughed, but inside the omen, the humans watched silently. Re spoke only once. They're ready. And somewhere, across the stars, more Earth ships began to move. The Krelok Dominion had ruled many worlds, but they had never faced anything like this. Their forces were strong, their weapons advanced, and their fleets endless. Yet on Valerian, power meant nothing. Their soldiers were afraid, their scanners saw ghosts. Their leaders gave orders into silence. And still, Earth never showed its full hand. From orbit, the human command ship Omen remained quiet, as if watching everything unfold from above like a patient observer. Inside, the operatives planned not for destruction, but for change. Commander Reese stood at the central interface, listening to reports come in: southern rail lines disabled, transport paths broken, civilian camps at the eastern edge have been secured, no Krelok presence. Encryption nets, fully active. They can't communicate off-world. Each report came calmly, like pieces on a chessboard being moved with care. Reese looked out toward the starfield. They'll send more. This isn't over yet. He was right. In the far sector of space, the Krelok High Command launched a new fleet, faster, larger, built to retake Valerian and end whatever was interfering. 30 ships, carriers, interceptors, ground transports, a full battle unit. Back on Valerian, the Valari began to change. Where once they had hidden, they now moved in patterns. Quiet, careful, but with purpose. The humans had trained small groups, not complex, just how to stay unseen, how to use terrain, how to communicate without speaking. It wasn't war. It was preparation. In one of the northern hills, a Valari youth named Neon stood beside Ellen, watching as small beacons blinked in the dark. We were not made for fighting, Neon whispered. Our people don't know how. Ellen handed her a small device. You don't need to fight, you just need to survive. Smart. The rest, we'll handle. Elsewhere, Day and his support team had moved deeper into Krelok-controlled territory, not to strike but to plant. Earth's team didn't destroy enemy bases, they dismantled their confidence. They filled their minds with doubt. Systems failed. Maps turned unreliable. Generators malfunctioned. But Krelok began blaming each other. They're making mistakes, Day said. Now's the time. Back on the Omen, Reese received confirmation. Krelok reinforcement fleet will enter orbit in 2 hours. He didn't blink. Then we move. Not with more ships? Not with louder weapons, but with a second Earth fleet, smaller than, but with entirely different tactics. These weren't standard operatives. They were the silent core. Men and women who had trained for environments without maps, without air, without light. People who worked in zero gravity with only instinct and skill. Their job was not to attack head-on, but to turn every Krelok weapon into a weakness. As the reinforcement fleet arrived above Valerian, the Krelok admiral saw Earth's ships waiting, but they didn't fire, they didn't speak. Instead, the admiral watched his own systems blink offline one by one. Targeting. Failed. Shields. Confused. Scrambled. Then something even stranger happened. One of his ships turned around, then another. He ordered them back into formation. No response. The ships weren't captured, they weren't destroyed, they had been taken. From inside. On Valerian, the Valari saw no flames, no battles in the sky. But in the forest, human teams moved faster now. Each action was part of a larger plan. Evacuations sped up. Krelok zones grew quieter. Every time the enemy sent scouts, they didn't return. And still, the humans said little. They offered no speeches, only help. At night, the Valari lit more. Sky lanterns, thousands this time. Entire valleys filled with soft blue light. They floated up, shining over the mountains, spreading across the forests. A symbol of unity, of growing courage. The Krelok watched from their towers. They had once seen the Valari as weak, but now, they saw something else. Not because of weapons, but because Earth had shown them how to stand. Admiral Vorth, high in orbit, gave his last order. Shut it all down. Reset the attack. Find the humans and finish this. But the command center gave him a message he never expected. Primary core, offline, system controls, rerouted. He stared at the screen, then a second message appeared. You were warned. The Omen remained where it had always been, still, watchful, and waiting. Inside. Reese looked toward the planet. We're almost done. Ellen stepped forward. Valari are starting to believe they can hold. That matters more than any fleet. Reese nodded. They asked for help. We gave them something better. The next morning, for the first time, the Valari raised their bent as a symbol of surrender, but of survival. They weren't alone anymore, and Earth had just begun to answer. The stars over. Valerian shimmered like quiet witnesses to all that had happened. The warships that once circled its skies were gone. endless hum of Krelok engines had vanished. In the silence that followed, the world was breathing again for the first time in weeks. But it wasn't over. It had never been about just saving one planet. Earth knew that from the start. Inside the human command ship Omen, the lights were dimmed, not because of damage but because the mission was nearly complete. Commander Reese stood silently, staring at the glowing map of the galaxy. Valerian, once marked red with alerts and warnings, now shown in calm blue. Status, he asked. Final. Evacuation of high-risk zones complete. Elen responded, scrolling through her display. Last Krelok ship in the system has left orbit. No resistance. Reese didn't relax. They left too quickly. They're regrouping, watching us. Day entered the command room, and they're not the only ones. He brought up intercepted signals chatter from neighboring systems, observational probes from other galactic races, some curious, others cautious. Everyone had seen what happened on Earth, silent for years. Had stepped into the light again, but not with speeches, not with parades, with action down on the surface. The Valari were rebuilding, carefully, slowly, not because Earth ordered them, but because they had learned something. New survival wasn't just running and hiding, it was thinking, acting, standing, even when afraid. Small towns were connecting again. Lantern signals between hills now carried messages of hope instead of warnings. Valari youth were helping carry supplies, elders were sharing maps, and in the middle of it all, human operatives continued their quiet support. They didn't lead, they guided. A young Valari named Neon, once too afraid to speak, now stood before a group of her people, explaining how to use Earth's energy packs, 2 power-clean water stations. We don't need to wait for the galaxy to come, she said softly. We can build again. Elsewhere, Day was showing a Valari team how to use terrain to stay hidden, not to run, but to remain strong, if trouble ever returned. The goal, he said, isn't to fight, it's to make the fight unnecessary. Back in orbit, Reese and Ellen were preparing departure protocols. We won't stay long, Reese said. If we linger, they'll think we're trying to control. Agreed, Ellen replied. But what about the Council? They've requested communication. Reese hesitated. They ignored the call when it mattered. Now they want answers. He walked to the central console, activated a simple broadcast, not a speech, just one line. To all listening systems, Valerian stands free. Earth does not seek control, only balance. The message echoed across relay networks, bouncing from one world to another. Some ignored it, others studied it carefully, but the ones who listened the hardest were the KRYLOK. In a hidden base far beyond Valerian. Their surviving generals watched the footage. Humans had fought without armies, they had silenced fleets without destroying them, they had left a planet stronger than when they arrived. The Krelok didn't understand it. That's what scared them the most. In the weeks that followed, rumors spread, stories of humans moving between stars. Not conquering but answering forgotten cries. Some called them shadows, others called them guardians. But in truth, they were something simpler, a reminder that even the most feared world in the galaxy could choose to protect instead of destroy. Back on Valerian, during the quiet dawn, Nyan stood beside Ellen as the last Earth ship prepared to leave. Will you come back? Nyan asked. Ellen smiled gently. If you ever call again, we'll hear you. As the ships rose into the sky, no celebration followed, no victory chants, just a feeling that the galaxy had changed, because Earth had returned but not with fury, but purpose. And far beyond Valerian, aboard a deep space monitoring station, a new alert began to blink. Another signal. Another call for help. And somewhere in the dark, Earth's response teams turned their eyes to a new star.